Have you ever wondered how a single being can trigger a cycle of corruption and chaos that shapes the course of human history? The enigmatic Azazel, a fallen angel who defies divine order, might hold the key to understanding this question. In a world where knowledge is power, Azazel and his followers not only imparted hidden secrets to humanity but also sowed discord and destruction. Prepare to embark on a revealing journey through the pages of the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and Islamic traditions, where Azazel is more than just a name. He is the symbol of sin and punishment. Discover how this being corrupted the world and what lessons we can extract for our own lives. Stay tuned, as what you uncover here might change the way you view the struggle between good and evil. Azazel is a complex figure appearing in various religious traditions, with distinct characteristics and roles. In the Bible, particularly in the book of Leviticus, Azazel is associated with the scapegoat ritual, a symbol of sin transferred to the wilderness. Here, he is depicted as an entity linked to evil and corruption. In Islamic tradition, Azazel is better known as Iblis, the angel who rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven. In the book of Enoch, Azazel is described as one of the fallen angels, whose malignant influence dramatically shaped human behavior. The image of Azazel as a sinister being is not unified across all traditions. In the Hebrew Bible, he is more of a symbolic representation of sin and guilt, while in extra-biblical traditions such as the Book of Enoch, he takes on a more active and pernicious role, corrupting humanity. It is fascinating to observe how these different interpretations help shape the perception of Azazel, offering a glimpse into the complexities of morality and sin in religious traditions. Imagine reading an ancient scroll in a dusty library. Each text reveals a different aspect of Azazel, providing a broader view of how evil and sin are understood in various contexts. Just as these traditions vary, our understanding of what Azazel represents can help us reflect on our own beliefs and attitudes towards sin and morality. These contrasting views make Azazel a particularly intriguing figure. He invites us to consider how different cultures and religions approach the concept of evil and how these approaches shape our understanding of morality. By exploring these variations, we not only learn about Azazel but also about ourselves and our own beliefs. As we investigate Azazel's role in different texts, we begin to see how fundamental he is to understanding not only the nature of evil but also the dynamics of our own choices and behaviors. This paves the way for a deeper exploration of his connection with rituals and practices involving the atonement of sins. In the book of Leviticus, the scapegoat ritual is one of the most fascinating elements of the biblical tradition. During this ritual, a goat is laden with the sins of the community and sent into the wilderness, symbolizing the removal of the people's sins. The fate of this goat is intrinsically linked to Azazel, an entity to whom the goat is associated. This act of transferring sins to the wilderness represents a symbolic distancing from guilt and sin, with Azazel, as the receptacle of these sins, becoming a symbol of the evil that is cast out. The concept of Azazel in this context is profound. He is not just a mythological figure but a symbol of the transfer of responsibility and guilt. When the goat is sent to the wilderness, the idea is that sins are literally removed from the people, and Azazel, by absorbing these sins, assumes the guilt in their place. This offers an interesting perspective on how ancient cultures dealt with guilt and atonement, and how these practices might be viewed in light of modern beliefs. Imagine the scene: a group of people witnessing an ancient ritual, with a goat being led into the wilderness. The goat carries not only the physical burden but also the symbolic one, representing the spiritual cleansing of the community. Azazel, in this scenario, is the final receptacle of sins, a figure who absorbs and removes the guilt. This ritual invites us to reflect on the nature of atonement and how the transfer of responsibility can be seen in our own lives. This practice also sheds light on how we handle our own sins and failings. Just as in the scapegoat ritual, we often seek ways to cast off guilt and seek redemption. It might be useful to think about how we apply similar principles in our own lives and whether there are ways to seek purification and forgiveness in our daily lives. With an understanding of the scapegoat ritual and Azazel's role in this process, we are ready to explore how Azazel interacts with other significant figures. In the book of Enoch, Azazel appears as one of the Watchers, fallen angels who descend to earth and teach humanity various forbidden knowledge. These Watchers, including Azazel, reveal secrets such as the crafting of weapons and the practice of magic. Azazel's presence is particularly significant because he not only corrupts humanity but also introduces violence and conflict through the teachings he offers. The Book of Enoch describes how these revelations have a devastating impact on society, leading to an era of great corruption. Azazel's actions and those of the Watchers are a powerful metaphor for the consequences of unchecked knowledge. By teaching human skills that should remain hidden, they not only violate divine orders but also trigger a series of events that lead to chaos and destruction. This prompts us to reflect on the impact of our actions and the information we share, and how these actions can affect collective well-being. Visualize the scene described in the Book of Enoch, angels descending from heaven and beginning to share secret knowledge with humanity. This scene is not just an ancient tale, but a reflection on how knowledge can be a double-edged sword. In our own lives, this may manifest in how we use and disseminate information, and the responsibility we bear when dealing with the power of knowledge. Azazel's and the Watcher's influence reminds us of the importance of maintaining a balance between knowing and acting. As these revelations brought so much corruption, it is essential to consider how we use the knowledge and skills we possess, and whether they are contributing to good or evil. Reflecting on this, we begin to understand how corruption and decay can spread from seemingly small actions. Now, with insight into the impact of Azazel and the Watchers, it is interesting to explore how their actions led to severe punishments and how these consequences shape our understanding of justice and redemption. The Book of Enoch paints a grim picture of the consequences of Azazel's actions. According to the text, the introduction of weapons and occult practices by the Watchers, led by Azazel, triggered an era of great corruption and violence on Earth. This period is described as a time of moral decay and chaos, where humanity, armed with new knowledge, began to destroy one another. Corruption spread, leading to increasing social degradation and, eventually, to the Great Flood, a catastrophic event aimed at purifying the world from the evil that had spread. It's fascinating to see how the Book of Enoch links corruption directly to the actions of Azazel and his companions. The introduction of advanced technology and knowledge, when not managed responsibly, has the potential to trigger destruction and chaos. This makes us reflect on how we use knowledge and technology in our own era. Are we promoting well-being, or, in some way, contributing to the degradation of values and principles? Imagine the scene described by Enoch, humanity arming itself with what is, in fact, dangerous knowledge. The explosive nature of these inventions and practices manifests in conflicts and suffering. In our lives, this can be seen in how we apply the knowledge and technology we possess. Do we use these tools to build and improve, or are we inadvertently fostering divisions and problems? The Great Flood then emerges as a drastic way to cleanse the world of the corruption that has spread. This event serves as a reminder of the need for renewal and purification. In our own journey, this can lead us to question how we can seek to cleanse our own faults and corruptions, and how we can initiate a process of personal and collective regeneration. With a reflection on the corruption Azazel helped instate, the next topic will lead us to explore the punishment he received for his actions and how this punishment reflects concepts of justice and morality. The Book of Enoch provides a powerful image of Azazel's punishment, being bound and cast into a desolate place, awaiting the day of final judgment. The description details how Azazel is confined in an abyss, a remote and isolated space, symbolizing the eternal punishment awaiting those who corrupt humanity and defy divine orders. This prison is not just a physical space, but also a reflection of his spiritual and moral condition, representing the gravity of his transgressions. Azazel's punishment is a strong indicator of divine justice, which demands an appropriate response to crimes against moral and spiritual order. By being cast into a desolate place, Azazel not only faces a physical penalty but also an eternal punishment for his role in corruption and the spread of evil. This concept of punishment reflects a view of justice that goes beyond mere physical suffering, involving a deep moral and spiritual dimension. Imagine the image of Azazel trapped in a desolate desert. This scene is not just a description, but a metaphor for the feeling of being isolated and separated from good and light. In our lives, this concept of punishment and isolation can lead us to reflect on the consequences of our actions and choices, and how they may distance us from harmony and peace. Azazel, therefore, serves as an example of how divine justice is applied and how actions have inevitable consequences. This makes us think about the importance of living according to ethical and moral principles and how our choices impact our own spiritual and moral journey. Understanding punishments and rewards helps guide our actions and decisions. With the understanding of Azazel's punishment, we will next explore his representation in additional texts, such as the Apocalypse of Abraham, and how he continues to play a role in religious and cultural imagination. In the Apocalypse of Abraham, Azazel is depicted intriguingly as a demonic bird that directly interferes with Abraham's sacrifice. In this narrative, Azazel is not merely a passive character, but an active agent of disorder and irreverence. His presence during the sacrifice is a deliberate act of disruption, demonstrating his direct opposition to divine purposes and Abraham's act of faith. This representation is not merely symbolic, but highlights the depth of the spiritual battle unfolding between good and evil. The way Azazel is described in the Apocalypse of Abraham as a demonic bird is particularly intriguing. This being is shown as an obstacle to the sacred act, illustrating the constant struggle we face against negative influences in our lives. Azazel's intervention not only disrupts the ritual, but serves as a powerful metaphor for the challenges and distractions we face when trying to maintain our faith and commitment to high values. In daily life, we can observe how external and internal forces often divert us from our purpose and purest goals. Just as Abraham faced Azazel's interference, we all encounter obstacles that test our determination and faith. This text encourages us to recognize these disturbances and maintain our spiritual integrity even when confronted with challenges. The Apocalypse of Abraham offers insight into how good and evil confront each other on deep and spiritual levels. This vision not only enriches our understanding of the forces at play, but also challenges us to reflect on our own spiritual journey. If Abraham could overcome Azazel's influence, we too can face and overcome the challenges that arise in our path. With the understanding of how Azazel interfered in Abraham's life, you may be wondering how to apply these lessons to strengthen your own faith and resilience. Exploring the figure of Azazel, we not only delve into an ancient narrative of corruption and punishment, but also find valuable lessons for our own lives. The story of this fallen angel challenges us to reflect on our own choices and actions, reminding us that knowledge and power must be used with wisdom and responsibility. Ask yourself, how can you apply these teachings in your daily life? Are you using your knowledge and skills to build, or inadvertently contributing to chaos? Share your reflections in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to continue exploring fascinating stories and profound teachings. Your journey of learning and discovery is just beginning. Stay with us for more insights into the world of angels and demons.